Hello, and welcome to Marking Out with My Girlfriend.
This is my girlfriend, Erin.
This is my girlfriend, Kat.
And sometimes Erin contradicts me right before we start the show, and then I get to do this because she doesn't have control over what I say during this little portion of the show, and I get to ruin things for her. So we've got a lot to talk about in the last 2 weeks. Namely, and importantly, AEW had a pay-per-view.
Really, we're just going to be talking about the past week, really.
Yeah, actually, that's kind of...
Last week was all the lead and stuff to Full Gear.
All the go-home shows are always like a little... Ugh.
They're bringing all the stuff up to that dramatic climax that is the final match.
Right. It's never as exciting. Because why put it all on the line on Wednesday when you don't get paid till Saturday?
Mm-hmm.
To paraphrase from something that was said during the one thing we're going to talk about from last week, which is that Eddie Kingston and Mox in-ring segment.
Oh, okay.
Because that is one of my favorite in-ring segments that AEW has ever done.
Yes. It was so tense.
It was tense. The cinematography, I mean, like, it wasn't like massively impressive cinematography or anything like that, but they arranged the shots in that scene very, very well. The way that they had Mox in like all black and like hovering over Eddie Kingston's shoulder, shouting every single fear that Eddie Kingston's ever had, every single insecurity and anxiety in his ear, like saying, these are all the things, I know all of the things you think about when you can't sleep. I know all of the things that make you feel like a failure, and I'm going to remind you of every single one of them. And if that isn't the most intense thing you have seen in ring outside of like a match, that's the best in-ring talking segment that they have done. Like, they've done a lot of good stuff, but that segment was above and beyond.
This segment was as good as Cody's promo last year going into Full Gear.
Which one was that?
That was his Silver Spoon promo with Chris Jericho.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, no, that was also very good.
It's the same level of as good, but in the completely opposite tone.
So, but yeah, no, like, I just love the way that they directed that scene with Eddie Kingston and Jon Moxley, because it was... Eddie Kingston is one of the few guys out there who makes me want to believe this is real.
Mm-hmm. It's very easy to believe him that he's being genuine out there, too.
And, like, I think part of it is genuine. Like, there's no way that Eddie Kingston doesn't feel at least some of those things. You know, like, worried that he sold out for the wrong reasons. Worried that he's being given the chance for the wrong reasons.
Yep.
Was wrestling even the right thing for him? You know, like, what could his life have been if he hadn't gone into wrestling and devoted his whole life to the game?
Yeah, what if he just gone and become a mechanic or something?
All those little things that, like, this could have gone different, and I could have been a completely different person. Mm-hmm. Was it worth it putting my body on the line day in, day out for this? This one shot after 18 years? It was incredible. And I just really appreciated that. So I went back and watched it, like, again, and then again.
Yeah.
And if you want to see good in-ring work, not even good, great in-ring work from both of them, that's it. Like, that's I think that's the best in-ring promo that has been done this year.
I believe it.
I can't think of anything that would be
And to go on with what you're saying, like, I'm sure we can really agree with that whole examining your whole life if you did the right thing and what consequences have you made for that.
Yeah. There's a lot of, like, so one of the things that I did want to talk about was this theory that I have. If you're familiar, I'm going to posit something to you. Have you heard of the term carcinization?
Oh my freaking god. Yes.
Does it? No, because Effie was outside of the ring when he said unlimited twinks. Chat asks, does unlimited twinks count as an in-ring promo? And Effie was outside of the ring when he said that, so no.
I know where you're going with this now.
Okay. So I have this theory. Carcinization, if you haven't heard of it or aren't familiar with it, is the very odd phenomena in which nature has evolved different crustaceans into the form of crab on 5 separate occasions.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, things that aren't crabs become crab over time. And it's very fascinating to, like, think about how crab might be the ideal form.
At least on this planet, yeah.
At least underwater.
I think above water they kick our asses too.
But they can't grow because of gravity, they can't grow big enough to be that threatening. I guess coconut crabs are pretty big.
Give them enough time. They'll figure it out.
Either way, my theory is that just like as crustaceans evolve and convergently evolve into crab, everything that we do is on a convergent path to becoming wrestling. It's the wrestleization or the kayfabization of everything that we do. Eventually, on a long enough time scale, the art that we make will become wrestling.
Now, is that more to do with how art evolves or how wrestling is able to take inspiration from literally everything?
Neither. It's got everything to do with the fact that wrestling is a reflection of the human condition in its purest form.
Oh.
Including the fact that, if you think about it, right? Like, in your day-to-day, in the persona that you present to the world, you are presenting a kayfabe version of Eren. I present a kayfabe version of myself. This comes back to the idea that, like, you know, there's the kayfabe decent person who, you know, gives to charity, does, you know, nice things for people, blah, 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 turns around and votes for Trump. You have a kayfabe persona of a nice person, but you're actually kind of a cunt. Everything is kayfabe. Every interpersonal interaction has some layer of kayfabe to it. Because everything is wrestling, and we're all our own personas. Change your name. Anyway, we have wrestling to talk about.
Anyway,
Oh, right. This all stems from my theory of wrestleization.
Okay.
Which is to say that at the end of the day, as things, you know, we stretch things out on a long enough time scale, your Twitter is your kayfabe persona, you know? You decide what thoughts go on Twitter. You decide what pictures go on Twitter. You decide how you want to present yourself. Social media is just wrestling without the contact.
I can't say you're wrong, and that kind of annoys me.
I know. That's why it's great that this theory works, because everything is kayfabe.
I hate this so much.
The person you are at work is a kayfabe version of you. The kayfabe version of me doesn't hate capitalism as openly.
Mine does.
Yeah, I have to be careful because, you know, I live in an employment at will state, which means they could fire me for no reason whatsoever.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, everything is kayfabe, nothing is real. Wrestling is fake because life is fake. And the parts of wrestling that are real are the same parts of life that are real. Wrestling is more than just the actual grappling. Wrestling is...
From the chat, Brad was saying, so you're saying social media is like wrestling, but without the actual wrestling portion of it. stares into the middle distance.
Right. Because wrestling isn't just grappling. If it was just grappling, then it'd be like, all of the best judoka would become wrestlers. But it's more than that. It's how you present yourself. It's what kind of moves you use, what kind of things you do that make you either a face or a heel. I still haven't figured out how to apply face and heel to, like, your internet personality versus
it would be more like an indie interpretation of face and heel,
right?
Where it's up to the viewer to determine how they relate to the presenter.
Okay, I like that. These are good thoughts.
Neither of us are high enough for this.
I'm not high at. I want to clarify. This is the first time in a long time that I am doing marking out completely stone cold sober. This is just me. I'm just this weird. They have to deal with this all the time.
Yeah, we do.
If anything, it gets a little better when I'm high because I usually just zone out.
I mean, that at least gives you time to get your thoughts in order.
Take a drink for the working manhausen. I don't actually have any liquids with me other than this lime juice.
Why don't you have water with you?
Because I drank it all.
We record for 2 hours. Have some water. Or lime juice. Just have the lime juice.
I could also do Chipotle hot sauce.
No.
Chipotle hot sauce is actually super mild. It's more like
really is, yeah.
A flavor sauce than a hot sauce.
Well, that's how I use it usually.
Anyway,
back to what we were talking about with wrestling.
Yes, that very confusing rant is my theory of wrestleization. Everything will become crab. Everything will become the Boston Crab at some point.
The Boston Crab is now the most dangerous hold in wrestling. Gotcha. Okay, Full Gear. Before anything else.
Yes. So at Full Gear, our buy-in match, which, like, really honestly kind of set a very strong tone for the whole show.
Yep.
Like, normally we're a little like, oh yeah, the buy-in was pretty good, blah, 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 blah. This was very good.
I was particularly invested because the match was Serena Deeb, who is the NWA Women's Champion now, taking on Allison Kay, who used to wrestle local to me. So I didn't think she was going to win, but I was kind of hoping against hope.
No, especially because Serena Deeb just picked up the title off of Thunder Rosa.
Exactly.
But, I mean, like, it was a fun match. It was a well-executed match.
It was exactly the kind of match I want starting off a full pay-per-view. And to put Allison Kay in a bunch of people's faces.
It worked really well. It fit exactly what they needed it to fit. And it was just genuinely a good way to start the show. So Serena Deeb does retain.
Yes, through submission.
And then, very excitingly, Thunder Rosa comes out and has a face-off with Serena Deeb, staking her claim for a rematch. And it was like, there's rumors about Thunder Rosa going to a bigger promotion than NWA. Whether
She's
that's
also running her own promotion.
Yes. Mission Pro.
Yep.
Now, whether she goes to WWE or becomes a regular part of the AEW roster remains to be seen. She has explicitly stated that she won't go anywhere that won't allow her to keep running Mission Pro.
Yes.
So we'll see what that means.
It means maybe she does a gallows and just runs it behind WWE's back.
Or WWE also buys Mission Pro.
Ugh.
Like, insofar as they buy the WWE Network distribution rights. Because they've been doing that with a lot of indies.
Yeah, because they picked up a lot beforehand, and they're just kind of moving them over now. Because gotta do something with them.
Yeah.
Can't just put them on reserve forever, like they had with everything else.
WWE.
Anyway.
So yeah, no, it's exciting. I'm looking forward to the next match, the championship rematch between Serena Deeb and Thunder Rosa.
Yep.
Probably have to watch NWA Power for that, and
more than likely, yeah.
I don't mind doing that.
Oh, NWA actually has a pretty good show. I like their setup. I like the feel of what they do with the smaller crowd.
I like
Making it all a single studio shot.
Mm-hmm. I like that they have a very good women's division.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't feel like as much of an afterthought.
Yeah.
Because that's a... Yeah.
That is a serious critique against AEW, and I agree completely.
I mean, okay, let's talk about the card.
Okay.
For Full Gear. We had 2 championship matches for women's wrestling. One was a different promotions championship match. The other was the AEW championship match. Those are all the women on the card.
I am honestly relieved they put the AEW Women's Championship on the actual card.
Yes. They need to figure out something to do with their women. Because right now...
Not just 10 minutes every 2 weeks.
Whatever it is, I don't think this is it.
No.
I mean, like, they're signing new women pretty frequently. Like, we recently got Ty Conte.
Yep.
And
just this past week, there's another one in Jade Cahill.
She was the one who Brandy yelled at.
Yeah. I hadn't seen her before Wednesday night, so I'm sorry if I got her name wrong. I'm going to really try.
We'll come back to that as we get to that segment. But yeah, no, so, like, it's a little weird to have the women's division be so much of an afterthought.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. I still think intergender wrestling would make AEW be a lot better.
A lot more relevant.
Yes. It's not like these women don't train with the guys. It's not like they don't take bumps with the guys. It's not like they don't take bumps from the guys. Mm-hmm. There's no reason why they can't have intergender wrestling.
And a lot of them, like a lot of the North American ones that they have at least, have had matches together.
Mm-hmm.
Like John Silver and
Chris Statlander have put together incredible matches.
Yep.
Is that the one you're going to pull?
Yep.
Okay. I love their match. Like,
oh, yeah.
Chris Statlander and Orange Cassidy have had a couple of matches together for the IWTV Independent Wrestling Championship.
Yep. Lufisto is a prominent figurehead in intergender wrestling and worked with so many of the women in AEW.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the guys in AEW.
I'm trying to think
also,
of, like...
just sign Lufisto already.
Yeah, really. Like, if you can put Marco Stunt in a match with Wardlow...
Yeah.
You could put a woman in a match with Wardlow.
And it would be more competitive.
So anyway, our first match on the card that wasn't a buy-in match
was Kenny Omega against Hangman Adam Page. Opening the show.
Opening the show.
Oh, goodness. I'm still in a little bit of disbelief that they actually opened with this. Like, I know Kenny opened a lot of Dynamites for that first year they were doing them. But it's like, this is a pay-per-view for a pretty big story match you two are going into, and you're going to open it.
I mean, that's...
Okay.
It worked. I guess where else does it go in the card is the question.
Yeah.
And it worked well as an opener, because it had, I think, everyone watching it pretty rapt.
Pretty intently. This was a brutal match. This was a lot more of Hangman style in there, with a lot of striking. Kenny walked away with bruises.
Yeah, no. The lower third listed Hangman as focused yeehaw man.
And he was.
It was, it was a really, really good match.
Oh, yeah. It was definitely a match between two people who really understand each other in the ring and can work around and build that tension that you need for the big payoff. Now, it didn't go as long as a lot of people thought it would.
It didn't need to.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people thought this was going to be like a 30, 45-minute epic. It's like, no, this is the start of this storyline.
Right. I mean, like, it's not the start of the storyline, but we're
not far into it.
No, so, like, if this storyline is a trilogy, them losing the belts to FTR is end of book 1.
Yes.
this is like the start of book 2.
This is the Two Towers.
Yes, I didn't want to make it Lord of the Rings, but it is Lord of the Rings.
I'm going to drag you into it, don't worry.
So at what point do Hangman and Kenny Omega have to fight a giant spider? It's at the end of book 2, so I assume they get trapped in Shelob's lair by...
It'll probably be around Fighter Fest next year.
Okay. Is Peter Avalon Gollum?
Sure. I regret this already.
I'm gonna keep going.
Oh, God. Anyway, what I was going to say is, yeah, a lot of people expect like a 30 or 45-minute match out of this, and it's like, no, it was 15, 16 minutes.
16 exactly.
Yeah, and Hangman lost by a mistake. He was up for the One-Winged Angel, and his head went too low, got caught, thrown over.
It didn't even need to,
quick.
Like, his head went too low, and he didn't even need to get caught. Kenny just used his momentum while he was trying to avoid it.
Yep. So yeah, that's where we are right now, because Hangman has other battles to win still.
Right. I think they're doing something similar with Eddie Kingston as to what they're doing with Hangman, which is this idea that both of them have to get to their lowest point before they can succeed. They have to hit that darkest place in their careers, so to speak. Obviously, kayfabe, everything's kayfabe. Everything's fake, nothing's real.
Of course.
So they get this build, right? Like, it's the roller coaster. They're built up, but then they have to plummet, and when they hit the bottom of that plummet, they can come up into a loop-de-loop and fucking just amaze everyone. So we're still waiting for that. We're still in that stomach up in your throat kind of drop before we black out because there's 3 loop-de-loops in a row.
Yeah, I am a little bit worried how much lower Paige's character could go in this, because this time last year was like a super low point for him. And that's when I actually got a little bit worried about the storyline.
Yeah, no, I feel like it's probably worth noting that, like, they kind of had to do a story reset on Hangman too.
Yes, yeah.
Because he reasonably didn't want to wrestle at the beginning of lockdown. I get that. So he was away for a couple of months, and they did have to do a little bit of a story reset. So he kind of flatlined a little bit after Revolution.
They kept it going as much as they could on like the BTE, but yeah, it's not the same as having it weekly on the big show.
But, you know, like, it still has been working.
No, I'm definitely interested to see this. I still hold out that it's going to be Kenny and Mox for the title. And then Kenny's going to win that and hold it for, I'd say, probably a year before Paige takes it off him.
I mean, that is what I think is going to happen, too. Yeah. I have to admit, I've never been leave my phone in a Smash Pumpkin drunk before.
Neither have I.
That you remember. But... I've been, oh my god, where are my clothes? Why is my light still on? How did I get into bed drunk before?
Yeah, I've done that.
So I relate to Hangman.
I've been on the bathroom floor at 3 a.m. and coming back to a chat log of screaming about dysphoria.
That's a rough one, honey. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's kind of like a catalyst, that one.
Sometimes you need to have those, light switch moments.
Sometimes you gotta hit rock bottom before you start climbing back up.
Right.
Like in wrestling.
Because everything is wrestling.
God, I hate proving this.
I know you do, because it's real. What other stuff am I gonna thinking just like a little bit more about this? It's kind of like that. It's like your planeswalker spark igniting.
Yeah.
Right. You have to have that moment that ignites your spark, and then you can start traveling between genders.
Or being an immortal in Highlander. You've got to be killed before you become an immortal.
Right.
And then you can't lose your head.
There can only be one. Anyway.
These actions movies.
So, yeah, no, this match was gripping. It was heartbreaking. It was
so rewatchable.
Yeah. We rewatched it last night, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, like, Hangman trying for the one-winged angel was also a big moment in this match that I really enjoyed.
Because we know he can hit it, and we know that the move itself can't be kicked out of.
Right. Now, my question is, why don't people just lean back and head scissors when they're up in that position?
Into a Poison Rana?
Yeah.
Because Kenny Omega.
Because he's got those tree trunks for legs.
Yeah, no, he's the final boss of wrestling, so you can't just, like, counter his moves.
Right. And sometimes, as with a lot of final bosses, there are fights that you're supposed to lose. Have you ever gone into an RPG fight and be like, oh, this is one of those ones I'm supposed to lose. There's no way I'm supposed to win this one.
And then it's not?
It's not, and you have to be like, oh god, I need to level up for 6 years.
Oh, gosh.
Because I've had that happen multiple times in Tales of games.
Yep.
So, anyway, watch that match if you can. Find it on YouTube. I'm sure there's some sort of less than scrupulously legal stream. You can check it out there. Don't tell them I told you.
I would honestly just picking up the replay on, like, Fight TV, because the whole card is amazing.
Yeah, actually,
it's worth being able to find anytime you want in the highest quality available.
Oh, now Brad in chat says, now I'm picturing, you son of a bitch, from within the head scissors in that very Kenny Omega way and laughing. You son of a bitch, you've got really hurt him. Son of a bitch.
Honestly, that sounds like something like Jungle Boy would do. Where he'd go for the Poison Rana and Kenny would block it and pull him back up.
Kenny's moist talking is very funny.
He's definitely a baseball fan.
He's definitely a Canadian.
Okay, moving on with the card into Orange Cassidy and John Silver, who we've seen a lot through, like, Beyond and stuff.
Yeah, this is a match that's happened a few times. And it's a fun match.
And knowing that, I went into this with, like, a high expectation of what to get out of it, and it was higher than that.
Yeah, no, it was a very, it's a very fun match. We got to show... So my prediction going into this match was that the lesson Orange Cassidy would have learned after losing his shot at the title was trying doesn't really work. I should go back to not trying.
Yeah.
But that wasn't what they did with this match.
No.
There were some very fun spots in this match, too. It was genuinely a joy. So one of the highlights of the card, like, in general, was Silver ripping out Orange Cassidy's pockets.
Yeah.
So that he couldn't stick his hands in his pockets anymore.
Yep. It's a strategy.
Yeah. No, it was it worked.
You know, and if you go back to that Orange Cassidy versus Psycho Mike video I posted a little while ago, you know that those pockets are dangerous if you try to get into them. So it was a risk for him to do that.
Yeah, no, it was... I'm gonna be honest. Silver is probably my favorite member of the Dark Order because of how over he's gotten himself on BTE.
Oh, yeah. He's definitely found a niche for himself to shine through.
Yes, because he's very funny. And the whole Dark Order thing with their just blatant homoeroticism is wonderful and hilarious. And, like, the thing that, like, makes it good is that, like, they're not, like, they're embracing the whole we're in a gay sex cult.
Yes.
They're not,
never
like,
really said it.
But they're not, like, making it so, it doesn't feel like it's, like, they're making, it's not like gay panic or anything like that, you know? It's like, everyone knows what's going on. Everyone's willingly a part of it. Everyone's having a great time touching each other's butts.
As was seen on BT this week.
Oh my god, 10 grabbed a handful and then some.
Yep.
Hi, Taco. Here to interrupt the recording.
Always. That's what he does.
Taco, could you please stop? Hey, honey. Taco. Please stop. Thank you. He got down after I said, please stop.
Yep.
I just had to get his attention.
Your cat is weird and listens.
I know. I love him. Anyway, so yeah, no, Silver versus Orange Cassidy was fun. It, like, for what was the lower stakes match of the card, it kept the energy going really nicely.
Yeah, this was the perfect follow-up to Hangman and Omega.
And like a perfect lead-in too, because our next match was the TNT champion Cody Rhodes versus the challenger Darby Allin.
Yeah, now I had said going into this, I really thought this was going to be Darby's time to really get that push that they've been kind of like teasing with him with all these matches with Cody where he just loses something at the end. We're going to get Hikaru.
I gotcha. There's the boy. Say hi to everyone. What you gonna do when Taco Mania runs wild on you? Hey, honey. Okay.
Oh, goodness. So, yeah, we got into this one, and it was a similar deal of what we've expected from Cody and Darby facing off, where Cody kicks his ass for like a long time. It's like 15 minutes of just Cody doing whatever he wants, and then showboating his way into a loss finally.
Yes, finally Cody's cockiness catches up with him. And Darby's whole never give up, never die thing is what wins the match.
Yep. Now, after the match, it's a little more interesting. Like, the match is great. Go watch it. It is a wonderful wrestling competition put on screen.
Like, on a star rating, I'd give it like a 4.5.
Is that what? Oh, Meltzer gave it 4.25.
I was close.
I was like, I've got the star ratings right here. Actually, I can check that. But afterwards is Cody gets the title, hands it over, like very physical symbolism of passing the torch.
Right. He like genuflects and holds it up like it's some sort of sacred grail or holy relic of some long dead saint. It's like the belt of Saint TK.
Saint TNT. And then they get jumped by Team Taz.
Saint Ted Turner.
Oh, God.
But yeah, no, they get jumped by Team Taz. Will Hobbs comes out and saves Darby because Will Hobbs is a beefy boy.
Who needs more screen time? Like, I know they're going to do that thing with Mox, Hobbs, and Darby that got kind of nixed on the COVID stuff, which is unfortunate. They need to find another spot for Hobbs to really get his footing.
I'd still like to see that match. I think there's a chance that we still get to see that match, just maybe not with Mox, but instead with Cody.
Exactly, yeah. That's what it seems to be leading up to. At least, even just a one-off, you know. Give him some time to shine.
Speaking of time to shine, someone's about to knock a bunch of stuff over.
Yep.
He needs food, apparently.
Okay, go get him food.
Okay, come on.
Or throw the mid-roll in here or something.
Okay. Why don't we head over to the mid-roll and find out? Mid-roll, mid-roll. Everybody's talking about the mid-roll, mid-roll, mid-roll. It is really gay. Listen up, nerds. Marking Out with My Girlfriend, the best wrestling and/or tangent podcast on the internet, has a new affiliate.
That's right. We're now affiliated with Independent Wrestling TV.
And let me tell you, we clawed our way up to this deal. We earned it with blood, sweat, and tears. And guess what? They are stuck with us.
If you visit iwtv.live/go/Soses Media and enter code Soses Media, you get 5 days of all the best independent wrestling for free. After that, it's only $10 a month to watch live events and the entire back catalog.
By using our promo code Soses Media, you get all that free trial to watch our favorites, like GCW, ICW No Holds Barred, and H2O.
Or something not hardcore, like Beyond, Pure J, and Black Label Pro.
Now go watch some wrestling, dweeb, because we're not going anywhere until you do. Okay, this is a complete tangent. I just remember that I did want to say this before we started the show, but whatever. It'll be in the VOD regardless. If you're a Soses Media patron, I bought these very fancy thank you cards, and I would love to send them to you. I will handwrite a note in there for you. I apologize in advance for my writing, But just update your address in Patreon so we can get that out to you. That would mean a lot, because I do want to thank each and every one of you individually. I promise I won't say the same thing in each letter. You can compare and contrast.
If you want to be sure, get your friends to sign up too, and then you can really check.
Okay, Aaron.
Are we back?
We're back.
We're back, and better than ever.
Taco has food.
So he'll stop being a little butt.
Yes, I got myself some water.
Oh, good.
So I'll be more hydrated.
And you're back just in time for Hikaru Shita versus Nyla Rhodes.
Oh, yes.
Yes. So, for a lot of people, I've been hearing that this was like the low point of the show. Okay. Compared to the other matches on the card, yeah, this might not have as much hype built behind it. And the two wrestlers involved in it might not have as much following as some of the other ones. But being the low point of this show is not a downside.
No. It was... Okay, so the problem is that this match, because of the way that AEW handles their women's division, felt very slapdash in terms of, like, booking.
It was literally thrown together the Wednesday before.
I know. That's... It, like...
There was a challenge made on Dark where Nyla refused to do any more matches until she got a title shot.
Yeah, if you book your title matches through your YouTube show, you can kind of not expect people to really, like...
It's hard to care.
It's hard... Well, because not everyone's gonna watch AEW Dark.
Yeah.
You know,
even I don't watch all of it, so...
Especially when it's a fucking hour-and-a-half program.
Yeah.
So yeah, I, like... As matches go, it was good.
Yes, it was...
But the build was not.
Yeah. It wasn't as hard-hitting as their first match because it wasn't a no DQ match, for one thing. So it was a straight-up wrestling match. But yeah, no, it was still very hard-hitting, very paced very well. Like, you knew when Nyla was in control. You knew when Shita took over.
It was a good match. Like, I won't say bad things about the match. I will say bad things about the way AEW books their women.
When Shita pulled Nyla up from a pin...
Oh my god.
My jaw actually dropped.
Okay,
like,
so...
What is she doing?
Nyla did the, I'm going to pull you up from the pin because I'm cocky and I can do this.
Yeah.
And, like, you know, that's the thing Nyla does, and it's to be expected.
She's a monster heel, that's what you do.
Yeah, it's great. I love it. I get excited every single time. When Shita does it, it's like, what?
Yeah. Like, what are you doing? Oh, you're doing, like, 3 more knees. Okay.
That was incredible.
Yeah. So, yeah, Shita did defend her title in this one. And afterwards, there was a encounter between Vicky Guerrero and Nyla Rhodes in the ring.
Vicky yelled at Nyla. Nyla took Vicky out, which, you know, great. I love Vicky Guerrero. Like, there are few people in wrestling who are quite as easy to hate.
Like, she opens her mouth and gets so much hate. It's great.
And, like, okay, so, like, there are characters in stories where, like, the actor or actress portraying them, or actrix, let's just say actor, they're all actors, whatever. Yeah. So the actor portraying the character portrays them so deeply believably that, like, you actually kind of hate the actor, too.
Now, when you get into that point, it's very easy to get over into go away heat. Whereas, like, I just don't want to see you on the screen anymore, as opposed to, I want to see you get your ass kicked on this screen.
Right. No, I know for a fact that Wheelchair Vicky had a lot of go away heat.
Yes. They pushed it a bit too far.
They've been doing the right amount of shrill screaming.
We're
trying to think of, like, examples where the character is so eminently hateable.
Oh, it's
that like it
it's
reflects
originally
on the
called
actor.
X-Pac heat because Sean Waltman would get it because it was thought that no one wanted to see him, but Sean Waltman's actually really good.
I see.
So it's not fair to
talking,
call it that.
Oh, I was thinking more along the lines of like, Louise Fletcher as Nurse Ratched in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, where you just viscerally hate that woman.
MJF right after
Cody.
Full Gear last year.
Yeah. Oh, there's just like it's one of those things that like when you have that kind of like deep and abiding hatred for a character, it's so rare and so wonderfully done.
Mm-hmm.
Like, kudos to the performer for being able to get to that point. Vicky is one of those people who has been at that consistently and for a very long time. And it shows that she's incredibly talented at it. Like, I mean, that said, I think there's a little bit of nostalgia to her whole act now, where like people enjoy it.
Where people look back at what they thought of it beforehand and see that they can actually appreciate it now because we're not dumb kids anymore filled with WWE misogyny.
Of WWE misogyny and a belief that anything in life is real.
Yeah.
Welcome, producer Aitsu, who is definitely not late because of work in Desert Bus.
I believe that. I'm pretty sure they've been here the whole time.
Mm-hmm. They've just been lurking. It's understandable. No.
Now, at the end of that segment of the ring, Vicky did slap Nyla.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone just kind of like held their breath, like, she's going to punch her, right? This is Nyla Rose, the native beast. And then she followed her out. That is an interesting character between Vicky and Nyla.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see that more. I want to see this explored.
I like excuse me. It's really, really interesting. And like it, you know, to a point, conflict with your manager is a good way to build a storyline without having to have other wrestlers to build the storyline off of.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, that'll be good for Nyla, that'll be good for Vicky. It'll work out really well for them both.
Yeah. They'll be able to play off each other a lot there.
Mm-hmm. And, like, this is just another thing about AEW that I do like. And, it, you know, like, I have a lot of things that I could say about AEW that I don't like. But the one thing that they do really well is how they work veterans with newer performers.
Yeah.
How, like, you can have, like, you know, these guys who've been at it forever working with, you know, people who haven't. And kind of giving them boosts up, showing them, like, helping them, building that next generation in a way that you don't really see at certain other companies.
Yeah, it's not venerating the veterans in a way that stifles the rest of the card.
Right. It's not booking certain performers at main events years on end
after they finish wrestling.
It's not beating a dead horse that happens to be a motorcycle.
Oh god, we're kind of punchy this week.
Again, completely sober.
Yeah.
So
and we came in just a little bit angry, which we'll get to later.
Yeah, no. Okay, so I think producer Aitsu has put it most succinctly in saying they understand the strengths of their employees.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, they're not booking Chris Jericho like he's in, you know, he's in his 30s and or like in his 20s and at his peak.
No, they booked Jericho as a coward who would put anything and everything in the way of whoever his next challenger was.
Mm-hmm.
They had another example. I just forgot it. Yep, I just forgot it.
I mean, they the few times they've used Rock and Roll Express.
Yeah. Yeah, the Rock and Roll Express doesn't show up and win the titles.
Right. They show up for like, or like, maybe something a little less dramatic than that, is how they've been using Tully Blanchard and Arn Anderson.
Yes. Very much in the mentorship roles.
Right. Same with Vicky Guerrero, and like, you know, the weird tag team combinations where it's like a veteran and a younger performer.
Yeah.
Or going on The Rock's Iron Man competition show with Billy Gunn and Dasha Gonzalez.
That is the one that stands out as not falling within that mold is Billy Gunn, because it seems more often than not he's the one getting all the shine and the wins for the Gum Club.
Yeah, the Gum... Poor Austin. His job is literally just to hold Shita's jacket.
It's a good jacket.
It's a good jacket. But boy, does Austin Gunn gives off a very particular energy that says, yes, mistress. No, mistress. I'm sorry, mistress. Please, mistress, may I have another?
God damn it, Cat.
Am I wrong?
You're not wrong, but did you have to say it out loud?
Yes, because I'm right.
Yes, Austin did get the pinfall in their last match. It was very nice to see, I will admit.
Yeah. He's okay. Credit to Austin Gunn. As much as I do make jokes about him being, you don't need to be horny from a podcast. Okay, I know some of the podcasts you listen to.
You don't have to be horny from my podcast. I am innocent.
I'm not, and it's as much my podcast as it is yours.
Okay, fair.
So anyway, credit to Austin Gunn. He has been instrumental in building hype during matches because he's so loud at the side of the ring, and it's like, it's something that I genuinely actually do appreciate.
Yeah, no, he's been such a benefit to the pandemic era.
Absolutely. Having him around has meant that, like,
it sounds like there's more people in that audience than there is.
Yes, because Austin Gunn is very loud.
He's hype.
He's very hype. Like, the amount of hype he gets about, like, just, like, little matches and stuff like that. Like, he puts things over in a really, really fun way by just being excited about wrestling, and that's great.
Yeah. That's what you want.
Even if he does give off subby energy. Am I wrong?
You're not wrong. But anyway.
So anyway, our next match on the card, because there's 4 more matches on the card.
We've been at this for an hour and 10 minutes.
We've been at this for an hour.
So next we had the Young Bucks with their shot at Tag Team Gold against FTR, with the stipulation that if the Bucks lose, they can never challenge for the AEW Tag Team Championship again.
Which they made a joke about by having TNT Tag Team titles mocked up as like 3D renders.
With the entanglements and everything on them. For the Bucks specifically.
It was very funny.
That one was hilarious. I laughed a lot at that one.
Making fun of Cody, which deservedly so. Still think we should make fun of him for that fucking neck tattoo.
You know what? He wants to run in politics. He's going to get a lot of made fun of for that neck tattoo.
Oh, speaking of which, we didn't talk about this during Cody's match versus Darby Allin. Apparently, the Nightmare Family also includes Lee Johnson and the Gum Club now.
Apparently. They just kind of come out with them in there.
There are two Itsus here. Oh god.
I
Which
can't
one's
handle
real?
this. They're both real. I can confirm.
False. Nothing is real. We've already gone over this.
for
Everything
fuck's
is
sake.
kayfabe.
I'm done. Just gonna take my headphones and leave. Okay. Bucks FTR. This was the match 5 years in the making. The match that really FTR used as their get out of WWE card.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a great match. Like, it went exactly how you thought it would.
Mm-hmm.
Tully was barred from ringside, so you didn't get any of the bullshit. And they worked on Matt a lot because he had the injured leg from a couple weeks ago.
Right. It was also kind of fun. The Bucks came out in Lakers colors.
Yep.
FTR came out in Celtics colors, which is like a fun little nod to the history and rivalry that those two teams have had.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
I liked it. So yeah, no, it worked. It worked really well.
Yeah, it was a great match. It ran almost half an hour, and it ended when Cash Wheeler decided, I'm going to try a flip.
Yeah.
I know we say no flips, only fists, and that's worked so well so far.
So let's try a flip and see. What's the worst that could happen?
Now, he did do a 450 off of springboarding off the rope, which is impressive when you hit it and you don't ruin my streak of predicting the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
I took that one a little bit personally.
So there's a lot I appreciated about this match. Like the fact that the Young Bucks were using like Hardy moves and Dudley moves.
Yep.
And then you had FTR doing like Steiner Bulldogs.
Yeah, it was like if you paid attention to tag team wrestling over the past 30 years, there's a chance you noticed a little call out there.
Yeah, the heart attack. That was the big one that Aaron got excited about that one.
The first one I noticed was when they did a heart attack onto Matt.
Mm-hmm.
And I marked out a lot for that because I'm a big Heart Foundation fan.
Mm-hmm.
Always was.
I wonder why.
It's because I'm Canadian. We're
Is it,
Bizarro
man?
land.
Inverse America.
Yeah. I mean, have I ever told you about the Attitude Era in Canada?
No.
When the Heart Foundation was like the top heel faction,
Mm-hmm.
they did less shows in Canada because when they came up here, we would cheer the Heart Foundation and boo everyone else, which completely screwed with everything they would have thought.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, no, those are our guys.
They may be assholes, but there are assholes.
Yeah. Because half the thing between Brett and Sean, and a little bit Brett and Austin, was America versus Canada.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it was referred to as Bizarro Land a lot of times on TV.
So yeah, no, this was a fine match. It was a very fun match to watch. FTR's style is a little slower.
Yes. They are very much like Sean Spears, like Randy Orton, in that they have a more traditional style that they do exceedingly well, but it's not that exciting to watch in comparison to a lot of other people.
And like, also, I'm gonna be honest, the Never Challenge Again stipulation gave the ending away for me. Like, it kind of ruined the match a little bit.
It wasn't like Cody where it's like, well, he could actually do that to himself.
Also, it felt like that FTR gave up the titles way too quickly.
Like, they had what, a month, 2 months? Not a whole lot of defenses.
Yeah, between September and November.
Yeah. It was a very short reign. I'm not too happy to see that. But, if they freeze them up for whatever else they want to do, that's cool.
You do have to mix things up with, like, length of title reigns and stuff like that. But yeah, like, it was a wonderful match. but this match had the problem of being too big for what anyone could deliver.
Yeah. 5 years of hype is a lot, regardless what you're doing.
It had the same problem as Styles Nakamura at WrestleMania.
Yes.
It was a match that had been built up for so long, and a match that, like, everyone had their dream booking for.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, this has been theory crafted for years now of how they would get there, what it would be for, what stipulations there would be. And that's so, like, when you've had that long to ponder over it, you're not going to be as happy when it plays out regardless.
Right. It suffered for it's a match that suffered from being too big for itself. And it's just something that, at the end of the day, no one was going to be able to no one can deliver on those matches. It's almost like you have to leave those matches and not have them.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it'll disappoint someone. It'll be disappointing to a few people. But, like, I mean, this was still a very, very tremendously good match.
Yeah, it's like at that point, as long as the people involved in it came out happy and saw their vision pulled out, that's the important thing at that point.
Right.
So, and the rest of us can just make do with what's there and not impose ourselves on it.
Yeah, no, it worked well. After that, we cut away to the Hardy compound.
For Matt Hardy
the Elite
on
Deletion!
With Sammy Guevara in a golf cart.
A golf cart that did say Spanish God on it.
Yes, it did.
This was a fucking wild match, though, eh?
This was a thing.
It was so fun. I loved it.
There was a monster truck. There was a ring. There was Roman candles.
There was Hurricane Helms and Gangrel.
There was Hurricane Helms in 2 different forms because he got thrown in the Lake of Regeneration and became his reporter's self going undercover. Mm-hmm. And then came back as Hurricane.
It was very, very funny.
Proud and Powerful were there. Private Party were there. Like, I can't even describe this match. I can tell you what happens.
It ended with Reby playing piano.
Yeah. Yes, that was the final shot.
I think of the deletion matches, it felt the cleanest, and, like, that kind of took something away from it.
Yeah, it's like he's done 5 of these now.
It felt in a way that, like, when he was fully broken Matt and he had to throw Brother Nero in the Lake of Resurrection and hid under the dilapidated boat and everything like that. Like,
I was waiting for a boat to show up.
There was a boat. There was a dilapidated boat in this.
Oh yeah, it was a throwaway joke, right?
But okay, so, like, the thing is, this felt, I mean, like, it's filmed during the daytime, right? No, it was just well lit. It was
they had a lot of lighting around.
That's what it was. It was too well lit for a deletion match, and it felt too clean as a result.
This wasn't a Camp Leapfrog match.
It wasn't like that. So, like, part of what made the other deletion matches fun was the fact that they were, like, kind of muddy. The lighting was very muddy. It felt a little amateurish in a way that, or it felt a little bit more horror movie, right? Like, how, like, there's horror lighting when you're, like, running from a monster in the woods, and it's
okay with the, like,
shaky cam, muddy lighting, everything like that. That this didn't have.
Yeah,
that's what it was missing.
Yeah, it's like they gave him a budget and he spent the whole thing properly instead of on toys.
Mm-hmm. Which, I mean, it was still fun. I'm not gonna,
No, definitely not. It was an amazing match. I love the story they told through the whole thing.
I like the Gangrel cameo. I like that Tony Khan had to have paid Gangrel.
Yep. To go to North Carolina to, yeah. I do really love, okay, so I love like behind the scenes stuff they did on Sammy's vlog, where they're showing off the golf cart for the first time, and Sammy after the match walking around the compound and he finds the broken golf cart. He's like, ah, shit. Or Santana tweeting after the match, 2 Puerto Ricans and a vampire lost in the woods trying to find our friend. Shit.
Very funny. It was fun. Like, again, if it had felt less properly produced, I think it would have had a bit more of that je ne sais quoi that makes the deletion matches as fun as they are.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Hurricane and Gangrel in AEW, I will never complain about that.
I was very pleasantly surprised.
So our next match was Le Champion, or sorry, Le Champion, if you want to say it like every person on AEW that isn't Chris Jericho.
Les Champion.
You think with the amount of times he said Le Champion, they'd get it right.
Yeah, they pick it up eventually.
But no, apparently just nobody wants to learn 2 French words.
He's not even the champion anymore, so it doesn't really matter.
He will always be the first champion, though, and that's why he gets to be Le Champion.
That's fair.
And if he happens to get infected by a cordyceps, he becomes Le Champignon.
So yeah, Chris Jericho and MJF in what I knew would be a technically good match. And I predicted MJF for it just out of morbid curiosity to see what they would do. And they followed my lead on this.
Oh, the end for this match was incredible. I'm just remembering, like, how it was, oh my god. So, like, the actual wrestling, yeah, it was fine. But then they try to out-cheat each other. And, like, the finish was just so funny. Because, like, they try to do the Dynamite Diamond Ring thing, right? Okay, I'm blanking because I'm overhydrated and a little hyper. Can you talk me through this ending, Aaron?
Oh god, I have to remember the ending then. I just been pulling off memory.
I know that, like, okay, so they try to do the Dynamite Diamond Ring thing. Aubrey catches them, or whomever is reffing. I forget who was reffing.
It was Aubrey because she looked disgusted regardless who she counted for. Oh yes, they did the Eddie.
Right. So Wardlow gives Max the ring. Hager tosses Floyd to Jericho. Aubrey is yelling at Wardlow. And Max does like a camera take and winks and then pancakes himself while Jericho's holding the bat.
Yep, he's got Floyd in hand.
Which was very good.
And then I believe he went for a roll-up after that.
Jericho shocked. Max goes for the roll-up and gets the 3. Now, I've heard people say that this finish was a little similar to something from, like, the G1 Climax.
I mean, it's similar to a lot of old Eddie matches. It's similar to anyone who's done tribute to this bit, so...
That's fair.
Not... It just shows up every once in a while. I think it was very well pulled off. It was very much a fitting tribute. Absolutely.
And it wasn't bad. I'm not trying to say it's bad. I laughed so hard at that ending. Like, it was...
No, we all loved watching it.
It was somehow a match between 2 guys that are so easy to hate ended up with me happy at the end.
Yep. And that's the problem with trying to book heel versus heel is you have to keep people invested in it when they hate everyone involved, and someone has to try and play face.
Right. And
so in this case, Jericho was more the face than MJF, which to be expected.
Right, because Jericho's like selfish, a little bit of an asshole, and a Trump supporter.
Yeah.
But that's a Christopher Irvine thing. Fuck that guy and fuck Jericho. You know, it's all kayfabe, but it's not. Everything is fake, but everything is still real. So anyway, it worked well. It was good to see Jericho lose twice in as many weeks.
Yeah. But yeah, Aubrey at the end was a real shining light for me. Like, she was a little confused going for the 3 count. And then afterwards, they were like hugging and everything, and she just looked grossed out. The names are made up, but the bumps still matter. Thank you, Aitsu.
So then our final match on the card was the World Championship I Quit match.
Yes. The one with the amazing lead up.
I think this is the match that I ended up actually looking forward to the most, despite the fact that the lead up came kind of like a little out of nowhere.
The final stretch.
The final stretch, it was like a slow build that...
They took a lot of scenic routes to get there.
Right. It's like... It worked well, though, like, in a lot of ways, and I'm happy with how it went. God, I wanted Eddie Kingston to win.
Yeah, I would have liked to see it. I think someday we will see Eddie Kingston with the AEW title. The world's title.
The world's championship. My favorite. There's a lot of things that I love about Eddie Kingston. But the fact that he insists on calling it the world's championship.
Yeah.
is just such a very Eddie Kingston thing. Like, I don't know when he made that decision, but it's just such a fucking weird thing, and it's so funny.
Yeah.
Also, the way he says, my mother. I love Eddie Kingston, and if you followed me on Twitter, you saw a very cursed meme I posted about Eddie Kingston yesterday.
Yep. Yeah, that's a thing.
But, Aaron, am I just kind of a little bit, like, high on enjoyment right now?
Possibly.
Maybe.
I think we're just maybe hyper-fixing on wrestling right now for you.
Yeah, I guess I'm just, like, full of dopamine.
And
it's a weird feeling because ADHD brain doesn't work normal. Anyway.
So yeah, this match was as hard as they promised it would be. There was thumbtacks and chairs and barbed wire and bats and all the stuff that makes me squirm and Cat enjoys.
Eddie Kingston wrapping barbed wire around his hands so he can punch Mox a little better.
Oh gosh, yeah, no, that was a thing. The thumbtacks that he put out and dropped Mox onto, and then rubbing alcohol.
Okay, the rubbing alcohol would sting, but that's probably the least brutal part of the match, is the rubbing alcohol. It's gonna hurt like a bitch, but at least you won't get infected.
So here's the thing with that is, getting hit with chairs, falling on thumbtacks, barbed wire, all that stuff people don't really understand.
Right.
People don't normally get that. We've all had to use rubbing alcohol on a wound.
An open, that's fair.
So we all understand that one pretty clearly.
Producer Aitsu has said the bulldog choke with the barbed wire was a phenomenal finish.
Yeah.
Oh god, my heart broke for Eddie Kingston when he had to say I quit.
Yeah, and he had to be clear about it. But gosh, what a way to go down.
Oh, it was so painful though.
And it's like that hurt Mox to do. You could see in here too. So yeah.
And now Eddie's not the world's champion.
He's not.
Thumbtacks make you squirm because they Yeah, okay, I can see that. Barbed wire being a little bit less brutal than thumbtacks. Barbed wire doesn't get stuck in your skin like thumbtacks do.
No. It's like, yeah. So going back to what I said, it's like, yeah, thumbtacks, we've all stepped on a thumbtack. Not many people get hit by a bat. Not many people go through barbed wire. Not many people get hit with a steel chair. So we understand what thumbtacks and rubbing alcohol feels like, though.
Yeah.
So that gets a little bit deeper into the human psyche when doing these kinds of things.
I don't know, maybe I just have really thick skin on my feet, but I've stepped on a thumbtack and not even bled.
Oh, so have I. It still hurt like hell.
Not really.
It hurt me like hell.
Ow.
I'm a wimp.
Okay, moving on. But yeah, no, this was like nearly 20 minutes of just pure violence.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a heartbreaking finish.
For everyone involved. Because Bryce was reffing this one too.
Yeah, Bryce
knows Kingston.
Yeah, Bryce has a very long history with Eddie Kingston, because Bryce, being the head referee of Chikara for a very long time, worked with Eddie Kingston when he was Chikara Grand Champion.
Mm-hmm.
Eddie Kingston and Chikara is, as much as I hate recommending things that might give Chikara more money,
the product they put out was exceptional because the talent that believed in what they were doing was exceptional.
Mm-hmm. And like Eddie Kingston's stint in Chikara was incredible and worth watching still. Yep. Just
yeah, it's marked.
It's definitely marred by the fact that, Okay, do we want to talk about Dynamite? Do we want to talk about Dark?
Want to go into... I think we should really go into the Eddie stuff on Dynamite, because that kind of like wraps up where we're at this week.
Okay, yeah, and then we'll just talk briefly about the like exciting stuff from Dynamite and Dark that we mostly leave.
Mostly leave, yeah. So yeah, we got a little bit of coming out from Full Gear on this week's Dynamite, where Penta and Phoenix had a rematch.
Mm-hmm.
After their one a couple weeks ago, that Phoenix won, but was fortunately injured during. And for this, Kingston was out on commentary. And it was uncomfortable with him on commentary.
Yeah.
It's like, when we say you start thinking that Eddie is 100% genuine out there, this is where it really shows. Because he's out there arguing with everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even Excalibur, who, again, he's known for years and years for wrestling. And he's just picking all these petty little fights over everything.
Right, it's like, it's bleh. It's well played because you can sense that after that I Quit match, every single insecurity that Eddie Kingston had about himself came true.
Yep.
And right now he's just trying to scrape by and prove himself.
Yeah, he's trying to hold on to that last little
whatever little shred he has, and that's his family.
Yep. Which, funny enough, yeah, so Penta and Phoenix were having their match. They had a great modern lucha match.
Yes.
Through this.
Oh my god, this match was so good and so hard to watch.
At a part that I didn't for this one.
Yeah, so, okay, I'm fine with people rubbing alcohol poured on thumbtack wounds. I'm fine with people getting hit with barbed wire. I'm fine with blowing glass into people's face. I'm fine with Danny Tremont having a fucking light tube stuck in his head and walking around with a fucking light tube off of his head like he's fucking N. Jin from Crash Bandicoot. Professor Cortex, it's me. Hey, Julian, I am your father. Sorry, I'm fine with all of that weird stuff. What makes me very uncomfortable is when luchadors' masks get ripped and you see their face.
Yep.
I don't like it. I don't like it. It feels like I'm seeing something I'm not supposed to be seeing. Like,
yep. You're getting a glimpse of Clark Kent behind Superman.
It feels more intimate than that. Like, it feels like the kind of uncomfortable you get when, like, you know, someone accidentally, like, there's a wardrobe malfunction and you see someone's privates. So it's like, yeah, oh no, I just saw this guy's dick by accident. Ooh, that's uncomfortable.
Okay. Now, me watching so much Lucha Libre over the years, like, I'm used to that just being a story point right now.
Right. I mean, like,
which is, it's such a funny juxtaposition for me.
It just, you know, I guess for all of the, like, you know, kayfabe is dead, nothing's real talk, the one thing that, like, still, like, weirdly matters to me is the tradition of the luchador mask and, like, how important that mask is and what it symbolizes and everything like that. And, like, that still gets me. I still, like, it still matters to me. Damn it, it still matters to me.
It's still real to Cat. Which is fair because that tradition is very much alive still. So
it's like one of those things that makes wrestling cool is, like, you know, it's like that time in the Spider-Man movies with Tobey Maguire when his mask comes off when he's trying to save the train full of New Yorkers from Doc Ock. I think it's Doc Ock.
Yeah.
And they're like, don't worry, Spider-Man, we won't tell nobody. It's that. It's that. Like,
it's okay, Phoenix. It's okay, Penta. We won't tell anybody. But yeah, I'm just so used to seeing the mask rip spot as a story point in a feud. That's like, yeah, I come to kind of expect it. You know, it's like I expect a heel to cheat. I expect in Lucha Libre the heel to go for the mask. Now that being said, hey AEW, make it a DQ to take off the luchador's mask, please.
Yeah, no, that I think that's something that every promotion should have. Is, you know, it's a match DQ if you take a guy's mask off, unless it's a lucha de apuesta.
You know, what's gonna happen if I pull down some guy's trunks? I'll probably get DQ'd.
Unless it's Michael Nakazawa.
That's a whole different situation.
That's part of his strategy.
Yeah.
No, but I like how well Tony Schiavone sold how, like, dire it was that they ripped each other's masks.
Yeah.
In, to quote Eddie Kingston, an exhibitionary match.
Yep. But yeah, this was even more of a hard match than the last one they had. And they went just as fast.
Yeah. Penta ends up winning.
Yep.
Eddie congratulates him in the ring and kicks Phoenix out of the ring, like, just...
Yep.
Like, dusting the dirt off of his shoes kind of kicks.
Yeah, he's so happy for his best friend, but not his best friend's brother.
Right.
But then someone's had enough of that crap. Someone with history with the Lucha Bros.
Someone with large Darby-esque ears.
Damn it, Cat.
It's Pac. Pac is back.
Yes. Yeah, Pac comes back. Kingston wasn't cleared to wrestle. So, like, immediately the ring fills with referees and officials to keep them separated because they can't actually touch because Kingston isn't isn't cleared for it. But they had a stood up like you wouldn't believe, though.
Right, so Triangulo de Muerte is coming back. So what they've got going on now with the fact that Allie came back and is now the bunny again with the butcher and the blade, they've kind of got this thing simmering for Eddie Kingston where Pac comes and takes away the Lucha Bros.
Yeah.
And then Bunny can come and take away Butcher and the Blade. And then Eddie Kingston's got no one.
Yeah.
Right, so this is kind of speaking to that idea that, Eddie Kingston's got to hit rock bottom. And this is, he's losing his family. He lost his one title shot that he's had in 18 years. One time he's had the chance to be the world's champion.
Mm-hmm.
And, can't seal the deal, can't keep his family together. What can he do? So we have to see where that goes. But I'm excited for what the future holds for Eddie Kingston in terms of just how they can take someone who is, I suppose, a heel and put together like a real heart-wrenching story. Because it works well for Hangman because you want Hangman to be successful because he's the good guy.
You want him to overcome his demons.
Right.
Eddie Kingston being a heel more embodies his demons.
Eddie Kingston almost, in a sense, is nothing without his demons.
Yeah.
Hangman's held back by his demons.
Yeah.
It's very interesting for how we have, how you can take what is effectively a very similar story, run it two different ways, and have two completely different emotional responses to those stories, two completely different reactions, two completely different methodologies of telling the same story. Which is why you can tell the same story in wrestling, because at the end of the day, there are variables that are different every single time. And, nothing's real, so...
So yeah, I'm so looking forward to seeing this play out even more. Next week we have Pac and the Blade, so we're just going to run right into that storyline.
Yeah, I'm excited
to see what happens.
I'm also looking forward to having Pac wrestle again.
Yeah, it's been 8 months.
It's been a long 8 months.
Yep.
Okay, do we want to talk about the one match from Dark that we got excited about?
Yeah. So on Dark, we had Leva Bates, the librarian, taking on, where is it? Danny Jordan. I couldn't remember his name.
Burn Book.
Yeah, the Burn Book lady.
The Mean Girls persona.
And Leva has her own theme music now.
Right. Because Peter is no longer the librarian, Peter Avalon.
Yeah, Leva is the only librarian at AEW now.
Which is good. I think she embodies that role a lot better.
Yeah, Peter's gone back to being pretty Peter Avalon. Having dinner in elevators.
This is a private elevator.
I do really love watching Peter work. He is so wonderful. But yeah, we haven't seen Leva wrestle since the Battle Royal she was in, I think.
Yeah, and even then, in singles competition, I think she's just 0-1.
Yeah.
They haven't had her wrestle a lot.
Yeah, her win came from tagging with Nyla Rhodes, and she never got tagged in.
Yeah, in 2020, at least in 2020, she's 0-1 in singles.
Yeah.
Or it was.
Now she should be 1-1.
She's 1-1. So now Peter is the only winless person in AEW.
Except for Lee Johnson.
Oh, Lee Johnson.
I'm sure there's other people too, but
yeah.
Of the actual signed people, yeah, I think Peter's the only one without a win still.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure he'll get eventually. Maybe. I don't know. Leva. Leva.
Oh, has the captain Sean Dean gotten a win yet?
I don't think Sean Dean has.
He was in the Navy.
That was his win. Yeah. But yeah, Leva came out for a match on this and looked, I'd say probably 90% of what she was like full time. I'm so happy about it.
So, yeah, that's AEW for the week. Aaron, we've been going for almost 2 hours.
Oh, yeah, as we kind of tend to do.
Do we want to just skip forward to talking about the Zelina Vega situation?
Yeah, I think we should definitely dedicate a proper amount of time to that.
That works for me. So, today, within 10 minutes...
Right before we went live, actually.
Yeah. Zelina Vega tweeted out, "I support unionization." 10 minutes later, WWE said that she was fired. 10 minutes.
Almost to the dot. So yeah, WWE's never been quiet in their stance on unionization and workers' rights or workers' basic humanity.
Nope.
But yeah, this is our bullshit of the week.
That's a way to say it. Either way, I kind of like, okay, maybe this is just me, but for me, I think that Zelina Vega has been trying to get fired for a while now.
Possibly.
She did start an OnlyFans right after they said you're not allowed to have outside social media. You know?
She had retweeted Paige when Paige had talked about learning about unionization.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, you know, what do you even say with this company at this point?
I think in all honesty, I just don't think there's any reasonable way you could support WWE. No. At this point, you have to willingly acknowledge that you are supporting an organization that is, I mean, it's a capitalist company. They're Trump supporters as a family.
Yep.
They lost my support a long time ago, but at this point, like, if you haven't already realized that WWE is a vile company and that you have to, at some level, accept that these are terrible people. You have to accept a little bit of responsibility for continuing to support the product in saying you're complicit in the horrible things they do by continuing to support them.
Yeah.
It's just, end of the day, that's what it is.
And it's like, this is a company that, you know, fires a ton of their roster during a pandemic when they're projected to make record profits if they don't do anything. If they just don't put out any shows this year, they would have made record profits. This is a company that calls their employees independent contractors, but gives them no benefit of that title.
Right, they don't get to own the right. Like that's the thing. Like, either it's just at a certain point, WWE will have to stop performing in California because they're violating so many laws by continuing to call people independent contractors while also owning their likeness, owning the rights to their likeness, owning the rights to income outside of the income made working for WWE. You can't tell me that is a 1099 contractor.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, I signed an exclusivity contract with Twitch when I became an affiliate. There's certain exclusivity with my live streams that have to happen with Twitch when I stream. I can't like stream on 2 platforms if I'm streaming on Twitch. But I can still stream on other platforms. I just can't stream on both at the same time.
Yep.
There's these little things that, like, you know, just don't add up to being an independent contractor when so much of your life is controlled by the WWE. If Andrew Yang is made a cabinet member as part of the labor department, it'd be interesting to see what happens. I'd prefer someone far more left than Andrew Yang be a Department of Labor representative for the United States. We'll see how that goes. He is
very passionate about this
one particular topic, yeah.
And that could bleed over into other things, so possibly, hopefully.
I don't know. Also, while we're here, hey, Twitch, what the fuck? It's just unconscionable how they've passed the buck on DMCA for so long, given no recourse when something gets copyright striked, and then just started out and out banning people for spoken audio. Like, if I happen to whisper a little bit too close to some, like, fucking heart chakra mantra from 1963, boop, we're banned. Like, Twitch has effectively killed their own platform, and I am fine with it. I hope it burns. WWE can go the same way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, WWE is so anti-worker that I'm amazed they even offer what they do in terms of pay for some people. Some people see benefit out of working here. The most of them are paid a living wage, but have to pay for their own travel, have to pay their own medical.
Right, you have to pay your own travel while you are required to while you were required to go to house shows.
Mm-hmm.
So you had to, like, zip, zap, zoop, zop, zoop all over the fucking country on your own dime.
Actually, that came up today. I didn't look up the conversion rate, so I'm not sure what it is in, like, Canadian. But yeah, the starting price for a WWE worker is $60,000 a year.
I make more than that.
Okay. Now I know. I don't know what that would work out to Canadian, but yeah. So in that 60,000,
it works out to like 85,000-90,000 Canadian.
Okay, so a lot more than I make either way. But in that's your wage. You have to pay your own travel out of that. You have to pay your own medical out of that. You have to pay any other expenses out of that. And
do you at least get catering at shows?
Yeah, there's like late night catering. You know, there's some mac and cheese and sandwiches, I guess. It's nothing good for you. It's nothing that the diet and regimen of a WWE superstar would require. But
what other things do you have to pay for quick so I can get to 5?
Just you have no way of supplementing that. You have no way of using your own image that you build up through your own work, because fuck knows they won't push you. Yeah,
it's bad. So fuck WWE, fuck Twitch. Real quick though, bit of exciting news. Sasha Banks was in The Mandalorian.
Oh, was her stuff good?
Oh, it was so good. This week's episode of The Mandalorian was hype as shit.
God help you, your last day was Rhodes. Yep.
Not anymore, because they own that again.
Yeah. It cost them a couple pay-per-view show titles, but whatever.
Yeah. But yeah, no. Sasha's part on The Mandalorian was amazing. This week's episode of The Mandalorian, fantastic. Irony of ironies, I'm suggesting watching a Disney property immediately after ranting about Twitch and the WWE for being horrible capitalist bullshit.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't say too much. I've been watching Gravity Falls all week, so, you know.
Yeah, Gravity Falls is so good though.
Yeah, the situation with WWE is so dire and out of date and out of touch that I feel bad for the people employed there that have to go along with the stupidity.
And like that's the other thing. Okay, here's the other thing, right? They're gonna fire Zelina Vega.
Mm-hmm.
But they still have Velveteen Dream on the roster, and he's still getting a push.
Yep.
Like,
you can be a sexual predator, just don't talk about a union. I'm surprised they haven't hired Joey Ryan yet.
No, didn't he pivot to being like a fucking Christian Minecraft server or something like that?
He's as much a Christian as McMahon claims to be.
Absolutely. But like, I think like he pivoted to being like a Christian motivational speaker for a while.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't blocked him yet, and I don't fucking care beyond that.
I found out recently that speaking of scumbags, Quack is back teaching people at Wrestle Factory. So, good for you, Sonny Defarge. You really kept that company in good hands.
Yeah. Okay. Can I make a recommendation of someone who's not a piece of shit?
Please.
So for my recommendation this week, I'm actually going to throw you all to an actual channel.
Oh.
This is the YouTube channel of Tyson Dukes. Tyson is an Ontario-based pro wrestler who's done work. He's done like jobber work in WWE. He's done better work in Impact. He's been around the world wrestling. And he's just one of those guys that never got grabbed up. There's always someone in front of him in line. But he's been posting up on his YouTube page wrestling explanations.
It's really good.
He's got a podcast on there too that I haven't listened to, so I'm not going to recommend that because I haven't listened to it. I'm sorry.
That's fair.
But yeah, he's a full instructor, and he goes over like how to do these moves, and it's really cool seeing it broken down and executed.
Mm-hmm.
Also, go find some Tyson Dukes matches. He's just great. I once saw him wrestle 3 matches in a night for the same card. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, those are always rough ones. Like, I mean, like just thinking about the time in Chikara when Chuck Taylor had to wrestle as Chuck Taylor and Mr. Azerbaijan.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they just had maybe a couple people who couldn't make the show because he was on the pre-show doing a dark match with one of the students. He was in like the curtain opener and he was in the main event.
Beep, 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 beep. Oh, can't continue that phrase, otherwise we'll get copyright striked. Emma is awake. Emma, good morning.
Should we go see Emma then? Go bug her?
Yeah, probably. I don't have much else to talk about then.
No,
if you're good, okay. I'm good. I'm weirdly hyper.
Oh, the masked wrestler this week was Skid was revealed to be Josh Bishop. I didn't know who he was. He seems to be a hardcore guy, so of course I wouldn't know.
Emma is playing the role of Tisiphone tonight.
That's my job.
Go play Hades if you haven't. Have fun. End the show the way that we usually do, which is my Kenny Omega impression. So, as we say at the end of every one of these shows, be gay. Mwah. And do crimes. Bang.
Marking Out with My Girlfriend is a production of Soses Media. check us out at soses.ca. Music has been provided by Sounds Like an Earful.
Yes, Chunt the Talking Badger. Chunt with 6 T's at gmail.com. If you want to email Chunt. This is a oh god. Hello from the Magic Tavern reference.
That's why I don't get it.
You
don't want me to talk about that one.
No, it's a fun I like Hello from the Magic Tavern. I just haven't listened to it in a while. I don't have a lot of time for non-actual play podcasts, although that one's like kind of an actual play. It's more of a LARP. It's a LARP, but how would you describe it, Erica? It's like a LARP, but it's an improv comedy LARP.
In a podcast.
Yes.
Interesting.
So the premise is that a regular human from Earth in 20 whatever got sucked into a magical portal behind a Burger King in Chicago and ended up in a mystical, magical, Narnia-esque land called Foon.
Is this just a kid in King Arthur's court?
No, because the main human character, Arnie, is completely inept and hasn't ever left the tavern that he settled in immediately after landing there.
Ah, okay.
So he just hangs out in a bar with a wizard and a talking badger who is actually a shapeshifter. And sometimes has more than one butt. The badger.
I figured the badger, yeah.
The way he shapeshifts is that he shapeshifts into the last thing he had sex with.
Well, that was a good show. See you all next week.
It's a funny show, Aaron. But yeah, there's a lot of really talented people who go on that show. And I'm not gonna lie, that would be a dream to get on there.
Okay, we'll start the Twitter campaign tonight.
We don't need to start a Twitter campaign. I'm not that good at improv yet.
Well, get better fast. We'll go start that. Hashtag get cat on Magical Tavern.
Use that exact hashtag.